Hello, I'm Daniel Popa. A short video with an update and some feedback from my experience with some splits and some nukes nuke boxes I have made. Let's go into it. You would remember that I have some time ago showed you this double screen. You would be saying a bottom board, or maybe it's a board actually, double screen board. You will have probably 2 centimeter or so, 1.5 centimeter between the two screens, not allowing the bees to touch from the bottom onto the top. As you place this board between the two boxes, then the top box, if it doesn't have the queen in, then it will become queenless and they will start their own procedure to raise a queen. That is one thing, but I want to show you how I have used it. A beekeeper I have watched, and I say again, I do place a lot of credit to this commercial beekeeper for his honesty and his openness to share. And he said this double screen is most valuable tool he has in the apiary. And when you first hear that, it's a theoretically side for you, but as you start using it, it becomes obvious how important is this. Now I have made these nuke boxes from ply, and you see I have not painted them, and I will show you why. And it will fit 5 frames easy, and there is space as well. It will fit 6, but it's a bit too tight, and I hate not having space to work easy on it. Anyhow, let's dive into it. So if you want to make a split, and I have made 5 splits, 6 splits from one strong hive, finding queen cells on almost each of the frames in the nest. And because the queen was so valuable, I wanted to make these splits and not tear down the queen cells. So I have placed, as you see, the bottom board there on top of another hive. It doesn't have to be, that is the hive with the green box I have made the splits from, but it will not accommodate except one box on top. These ones here, I have used another hive. Instead of a top lid, I have used actually this board, double screen, and it will allow the heat to come through to warm up this new split I have done. It is critically important in the spring, especially if we make splits, because all of the workforce, it will leave this split and go back to the mother hive, leaving the split with nurse bees only. Now you would have in a split 1 frame of capped brood or so, and pollen, nectar or honey. So those nurse bees, they will not go outside to forage either for water or for nectar, pollen. So they need the resources and they need the heat. If there are few, because the workforce have left this split, then they struggle to keep warm the capped brood, and it is critical for the capped brood at that stage through the metamorphosis to have about 35 degrees inside to develop right. Today it's extremely cold. We are 3 weeks in the spring already, and in September, you remember this is South Australia, and we are now in the spring, but outside it says on my app 8 degree in the morning, feels like 1.5, so it is cold and rainy. Now it's critical, as I said, for them to have the warmth. There are many things. I would like to encourage you just to make a step, just to do something, just to experiment, and then you will come to your conclusions. Well, you could have something like this on the top, something like this with just a ventilation hole, or from OSB you could have something like this. And I have used this hole for feeding. I'll show you in a moment how. Now, what is beautiful about that, so they will have an entrance here and they will come through this side and off they go. Now, between this OSB here and the bottom OSB, there is another OSB here. I have put some floor insulation, which you put the underlay under the floorboards, just to be efficient and not lose the heat from the bottom going and escaping and just making it hard for the colony down below. Now, this is interesting. You would remember I showed you these polystyrene boxes which you find around at all the supermarkets. They will transport cauliflower and broccoli and things like that in it. And I have made these nuke boxes kind of to fit inside this. So I would call this like a hat. So you just put the hat on top like that, and then all of the precious heat, it is kept there. There is an airflow here, so it is important. You can half block this with some masking tape, or at this stage in the spring it is not that so you would have much airflow because it is not that hot, but there is plenty of airflow because all these, you would see, they're not perfectly fitting, and you will make up your judgment about that. Now, another thing I want to show you, and I better go to a hive to show you that. Well, I'll show it to you here. How do I feed these splits? Now, they do have some resources in, but if you want to feed a little bit, it is interesting, very interesting. This split here, they have not taken the feed, so I didn't give them any more. They just taken very little from the jar. This one here, that box is absolutely packed, and they will take as much as I give them. So how do I give them? Well, there's few ways, but I find this the best. If you have any plastic like this for honey, and then you make that many holes in the lid, what is critical is for the lid to really be on. And then you see, if you do not want to fill the thing to the top, you still can make it half. It's no problem. The only thing is, when you go and feed them, you must have a bowl and be very extremely careful not spilling sugar syrup on the hive, around the hive, because that is the beginning of the end. You don't want to start rubbing. Now, you take this and you basically, on top of the bowl, turn it upside down, and if it is very full, there'll be just a couple of drops coming. If it is half full or less, there'll be a little bit more, but then it will stop and not run anymore. Look, let me see. So you do it like this, see? That's it. So it is not dropping anymore. Very little, see? That's it. So you take this very careful and you place it here, where you have made a hole into the top box. You place it here like that, and the bees come through and empty that. And you have you've seen. Let me go here and show it to you. I'll take advantage, being so cold, bees are not flying. Let me do this one. So I have put another bucket on top, not only to conceal the bucket with sugar syrup, but if the sugar syrup gets less and less and less and less, and it gets to almost nothing, and it's in the middle of the night and a wind blows, then it will blow away your small bucket, and then you will have a hive with a hole there. You see here? So you want to conceal it, you want to keep it, put a weight on top of it like that, and you'll make sure that they can safely take that. Now I like this so much, this method, because you do not have to disturb the bees. If you want to replace that small bucket when it's empty, you just take it and put a new one on top, and bees are not disturbed. Now, very different story with this one. This one is in the polystyrene box with a lid, and it has, I believe, only 2 frames of bees. Now, all this space here, it's empty. So I can put a bucket like this inside the box, just on top of 2 sticks, for the bees to go under the bucket and start leaking and drawing the syrup from it. The problem is, if on a weather like this, I try to open the top and replace that, though they have dividers here and they're not kind of open all the way, but they don't like that. And I cannot replace that in a weather like that. So this is the weakness of such a method. Yeah. Well, that was something I want to touch upon, and just to encourage you, do it, not be afraid. We may not get it right the first time. We may have to experience, each of us would be a little bit different approach, and it might work a bit different for one than for another. But important is that we should be looking after our bees, loving them with passion. Hey, good morning. That's not your entrance. They say no, we don't like this entrance here. Oh, we like to come out through this hole. Well, good luck with that. That is the weak part of the polystyrene box. They will make easy another entrance if they want to. So we have to live with something like that. The thing it is, we do not have this as permanent. So it's just for a time until they get a bit strong and they retain the warmth there. Until next time, I would say God bless you.